This is G-Man and Deathface from Bags of Rock.
And you're listening to Ross and John live from Glasgow.
That is Bad Romance. You're impressed, aren't you, G-Man, that I knew that's Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. We've got the boys from Bags of Rock.
How you doing?
Very good. Very good. Thanks for all for coming in. We've got major microphones with G-Man, the man with the pink Mohican haircut, and Deathface.
Happiest man in the band.
Don't stare at his eyes.
That's right, we call him Deathface, because if you stare at him too long, he will turn you to stone.
Is that right?
It's also miserable.
Tell us about Bags of Rock, because you are not, we're used to, let's say, sporting events in Australia, having the massed pipe band.
Yeah.
It might be the police force or something like that. That's not you guys, is it?
Of course. No, what we're trying to do is throw a modern Scotland out there, what's happening at the moment, and what we're doing with the bagpipes is fusing them with like modern rock and electronic music and trying to create something new in the process. When I say new, nothing's entirely new. I mean, obviously, the first man to play bagpipes with a rock band was Bon Scott. Of course, with the Long Way to the Top, if you want to rock and roll, the AC/DC classic.
I was going to ask you about that, because we were up at the National Piping Centre, which is more traditional. It's only 100 metres up the road. And Alistair McLaren, that was a chap up there, said there is not a bagpiper in the world who doesn't know it's a long way to the top.
Of course, it's a rite of passage, I'm sure, as a bagpiper, but these guys can tell you better about it. I mean, you've played with Alistair McLaren as well, haven't you, Stevie?
I was the leading drummer of the National Youth Pipe Band of Scotland when I was a wee bit younger, for a couple of years there, so worked a lot with Alistair and stuff like that as well. So, again, they were trying to take the kind of twist on it of, doing something different with the bagpipes, and they do it in a lot more kind of traditional style, though. With kind of acoustic guitar and stuff like that, so we definitely like to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
So we got 5 members of Bags of Rock here. Did you all learn it as youngsters?
Pretty much so, yeah. I think...
I'm one of the pipers in Bags of Rock, and I learnt it from my grandfather. It's a really common thing for the bagpipes is to go through generations like that. So it was my grandfather that played the pipes, and I started learning when I was 10 to surprise him. It just kind of went from strength to strength, but that was traditional piping. And then I met Gregor and a few of the guys and came up with the band, and it was something totally different for me. It was like learning again almost.
Well, this is Johnny, who's the piper who learned it traditionally originally.
I learned at the National Piping Centre.
Now, where have you played recently? Tell us about that.
I played in the opening ceremony for the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow a few nights ago, so that was a great experience.
You didn't do Lady Gaga's Bad Romance there, did you?
No, they wouldn't let me.
Give them the chance.
They wouldn't let me. Asked them.
So when your grandfather, who taught you how to play the pipes, hears the work of Bags of Rock, does he shake his head?
I don't know about that quite. It's probably more Gregor's.
We warped his mind.
To be honest,
we took him out of the tradition and threw him into a rock and roll band, So I think we're actually, I would say we're a heavy rock band with bagpipes for vocals, and of course we've got the march and snare in there as well. So we think ourselves more as a heavy rock band, but it's great because we do get gigs in both scenes. We get gigs in some of the Celtic fusion things, and also we get a lot of rock gigs and kind of heavy rock gigs as well, so it's nice to kind of straddle both genres, if you like.
Did you play at Hogmanay at Stirling Castle?
We did, yeah. We played with Deacon Blue. That was the second year we played, which was we're the only band who's been asked back 2 years consecutively to play because of the response we got the first year.
How big's the crowd there at Hogmanay at Stirling Castle?
About 7,000 or 8,000.
Yeah, it was pretty much, if you're looking out from the stage, the car park in front of the castle is absolutely full, and then you've got the amazing Stirling Castle in the background, which, as we call it in Scotland, the Jewel of the North, the most stunning castle I think I've ever seen.
Had the bells as well. We're on stage and you can see all the fireworks and stuff for miles, and it's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, G-Man, what did they say when you came home with the pink Mohican haircut? What was it?
what did my parents say?
Yes. What did Mum and Dad say?
Well, because we're talking about going back to about 20 years or so since
You've
I
had
started
that for 20 years.
Getting my mad haircuts. I started off with a Batman shaved into the back of my head when I was 8 years old, and it was my aunt that done it, and it was actually my dad and mum were in the room at the time going, well, if that's what you want now, son, then you can have it,
What about touring? Do you do any touring?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been playing all through Europe. I mean, we've played as far as Kuala Lumpur, but in particular last year we were playing a lot in Italy and Germany, and shortly we're going over to Poland, we're going over to Belgium as well. But one place we've not been yet is Australia.
Right, so you need someone to invite you out to play.
Absolutely,
that'd be awesome.
Definitely.
If you book us, we will come. Yes, yeah.
Okay, we're a little bit later on. We're gonna hear some more of your Bags of Rock originals. Is there a resurgence in traditional, fusing traditional Scottish music with rock and roll?
Well, I don't think it's really something that's been covered as much as it should have been. We think, and one of the reasons why we write a lot of original material, we write in the key of A minor, which is not traditionally what bagpipes often play, the kind of that major stuff, but we do a lot more songs in minor keys, which is not traditional at all,
It's
but
more rock and roll that way, isn't it? You get a bit more a rock and roll vibe from the minor keys opposed to some of the major.
That is the voice of Deathface.
You're gonna have to put up an octave so people can hear it.
What overseas countries outside of Scotland are you most popular in?
I would think, Italy was a big one for us, wasn't it?
It was great, yeah. The Montalagno festival that we played at, it was quite a big festival over there, and just
20,000 people in front of the stage.
We got, it was absolutely amazing, amazing.
The Germans are mad for it, though. One of our main influences is Rammstein, hailing from Germany, and we go to Germany and they go absolutely crazy for it.
Yeah. The independence. You're going to vote.
I wonder when this question was coming up.
You're going to vote on the subject of Scottish independence. Now we had Pat the cab driver take us up to Loch Lomond today, and he said it'll be 95% no. Will Bags of Rock vote as a 5-man block vote on the subject of, or does the band have creative differences on Scottish independence?
Better together and apart.
We'll say yes and no.
Because better together is the motto of the No campaign, isn't it? But we're all better together.
Of course, yeah. We're that busy. Yeah, doing the rock and roll thing that, politics doesn't even enter into, to be honest. So we've yet to read up the literature, but if we do at some point, we could make a decision. The way we look at it, we're thinking, well, it's in September, we've got a bit of time to read up on it first. We're too busy in the studio making the new album at the moment, so we're kind of,
Glaswegians, who do they dislike most? English or... Edinburgh.
Absolutely ridiculous. No, to be honest, I think Glasgow often it gets the kind of people would assume that there's some sort of rivalry in Edinburgh, Glasgow. It doesn't really enter into it in the way I think people like.
There is a rivalry there until English come up, and then we come together and go, sorry, our career team's bigger than theirs.
Well, I'm talking to the cab driver today, who is a Rangers supporter.
Yeah,
and he said if England played Celtic, he'd barrack for England.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to do that, as well. Say whoever's playing the team they don't like, they start supporting.
Have you heard the expression barrack before, coming from Ross?
Barracks.
Yes, sorry, support.
I was thinking about army barracks. No.
Are you allowed to ask people what football team they support? Because you don't. Is it a question you don't ask, or is it okay to ask? Because I asked a piper today, a 15-year-old who was just busking essentially, and I asked him, and he looked as if I'd asked him whether he's ever been a member of the KGB.
Yeah,
is it something you don't do? Or
when you come to Glasgow, you're not asking what football team you support. You're asking Rangers or Celtic.
Yeah,
realistically.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I remember getting a taxi in Chicago, of all places, again, told the driver where to go. He was on the phone at the time, and then he turned around and said, "Oh, Glasgow man, Rangers or Celtic?" So that's all the way out in Chicago. So around the world, everyone wants to kind of know that question. I'm not a huge fan of football myself, I must admit. I love the game, but all the stuff that comes with it, I'd rather kind of rock out instead,
Rock out. Where are you? We're going to play a bit of your music now. Where are you rocking out next?
We're going to be playing at the
Edinburgh Festival on the 8th of August.
The Fringe Festival,
playing at the
Yes.
Will that be bigger than Hogmanay at Stirling Castle?
Well, certainly get a bit more coverage and whatnot, but the actual
Yeah.
physical size of the venue, not so much. But I mean, the next festival playing in Poland's going to be a big one. That's
In Poland?
Yeah.
What city in Poland?
Zamek Festival, isn't
Zamek
it?
Festival. I'm not actually sure, but that's terrible. But I need to
Poland's
check
a
this
small
out.
place.
We just play in the band.
You just turn up with a passport.
As long as the cab driver knows where to take you. Fellas, it's been lovely to make your acquaintance. These are good guys. G-Man, Deathface, Logan, Stephen and Johnny from Bags of Rock.